Hello and welcome to the program today. I'm Layo Olarinde. We begin in Liberia, where at least 40 people have been killed after a fuel tanker crashed and exploded in the central region. Eyewitnesses say the tanker overturned along a road in Totota town, about 130 kilometers from the capital Monrovia, busted into flames soon after people rushed to the site to scoop fuel from the tanker. The country's chief medical officer, Francis Kate, says more than 83 people have been admitted to hospital for their injuries following the disaster. Well, Liberia's president, George Weah, has expressed his condolences to the families of victims. Well, local authorities in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo say at least 40 people have died after heavy downpours overnight unleashed floods and landslides. The disaster has now left residents digging through the mud to find bodies. In Bukavu, onlookers gathered to watch as a group of men hauled a car out of the mud to recover a woman's body from underneath. At least 20 people died in Bukavu and at least 20 more were killed in the village of Burunyi, about 50 kilometers from Bukavu. According to UN climate experts, poor urban planning and weak infrastructure make hardscrabble communities more vulnerable to extreme rainfall, which is becoming more intense and frequent in Africa due to warming and rising temperatures. Police in Kenya are investigating suspected killings of 4 men on a Del Monte pineapple farm near Nairobi, months after a media report said security guards on that same farm had killed and assaulted trespassing villagers. Friends and family of the latest victims are urging the government to intervene to explain how the 4 people ended up in a river about 400 kilometers away from the capital. The multinational food company Del Monte says its local unit is cooperating with authorities, alleging that there is rampant organized crime around the pineapple theft in the region. After 5 days of searching, 2 bodies were found in the river on Sunday and another on Monday. Well, back here in Nigeria, the Vice President Kashim Shatima is assuring Nigerians that lasting peace will be restored to Plateau State and other parts of the country where security challenges are being experienced. He gave the assurance when he paid a condolence visit to the victims of the Christmas Day attacks in the state, where he promised justice for the victims of the attacks. Our State House correspondent, Emperor Simon, reports.
25th of December 2023 is a day the people of Bokos and Barikin Ladi local government areas of Plateau State cannot forget in a hurry. The agony of the heinous attacks on their communities, which claimed the lives of over 100 of their loved ones, still linger. Here at the Bokos Mini Stadium, the people gathered to receive the Vice President, Senator Kashim Shatima, whom they have heard is coming to condole them. At the Yakubu Gowon Airport, Aipang, the National Security Advisor, Mr. Noor Ribadu, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, and Governor Caleb Mutfwang are the first to arrive. Minutes later, the aircraft carrying the Vice President Kashim Shatima touches down. Straight away, the convoy moves to Bokos Mini Stadium. From one to the other, Vice President Shatima goes round consoling the victims. He takes out time to extend care to the children.
Sympathy and your concern.
The transition chairman of Bokos Local Government Council gives an update on the casualty figures from the attacks.
The number of deaths recorded as of yesterday is 148. that were massacred. 25 communities affected, 1,290 homes were burned down, 81 vehicles, 187 motorcycles, 267 water pumps, and 88 people are now receiving treatment in various hospitals here in Bokos and Jos.
Governor Mutfwang commends President Bola Tinubu's swift response to the situation in Plateau State.
Yesterday when I was speaking, I said that under the last federal government, there was lack of political will to deal with this issue. I never accused the present government of lack of political will. And this today, the visit of Mr. Vice President is a demonstration of the political will of the present government to deal with the situation.
The Vice President tells the people that justice will be served. He enjoins them to stay united and believe that it will get better soon.
While it may seem that you are all alone, I assure you that this government, and most particularly President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is here to protect you. This government is here to deliver justice. Our dear brothers and sisters in Plateau State, we appeal to you to resist the temptation to succumb to sectional divisions or the poisonous rhetoric of hatred towards your fellow citizens as we pursue justice and ensure your security.
It's an emotional situation here. Women and children now rendered homeless and their means of livelihood gone. But the visit of the Vice President today has somehow ignited hope in them as they look forward to the intervention of the federal government, especially in finding a lasting solution to the security challenges in their communities. Vice President Kashim Shatima returns to the Yakubu Gowon Airport, where he holds a town hall meeting with stakeholders in Plateau State, comprising religious leaders, traditional rulers, politicians, among others, urging them to maintain law and order. He takes his leave to attend another function in Kano State, but the meeting continues with the National Security Advisor and the Gbongwom Jos reiterating the call for unity in Plateau State.
We have to find in our own heart and by our own actions, with our own resolve and commitment, and say enough is enough.
It is expected that the calls for peace will be heeded by the people, even as the victims await the intervention promised by the federal government. Emperor Simon, Channels Television News.
Nigeria and 34 other African, Caribbean and Pacific countries are maintaining their resolve not to sign the EU-ACP, also called the Samoa LGBT Agreement. This is in the face of a threat issued by the European Union that such countries will face economic sanctions and lose EU funding and development aid if they fail to sign by January 1st, 2024. The African countries in the ACP maintain that LGBT, gay marriage, transgender rights and sexualization of African children is inimical to African culture and insults the African sensibilities. The 35 countries are calling on other ACP countries that have been pressured to sign the agreement to withdraw their signatures.
This is the most important thing to discuss. The first thing is not politics. Politics is not the first thing. The first thing is culture. And the BS of culture are religious values, cultural values. That is the values of the people that take care of the fabric of society, that, strengthen the fabric of society. Because don't forget that the politicians, the economics, the professionals don't come from thin air. They come from the family. So many of us don't always remember that The world crisis is a crisis of disintegration of the families. That's the world crisis. All the problems we have in the world today are symptoms of collapsed families. Something that family is a private thing, well, it's not a private thing because the family disintegration affects the nation. It affects the world. If the family disintegrates, the world will also disintegrate. The African countries who have not signed the agreement should maintain their stand. They are sovereign countries. They are independent countries. Okay, there is nothing like international Supreme Court that binds all countries. No, every country is free to decide what it wants. Okay, to decide the law that can bind the country. EU has no local standard, as we say in law, to impose this agreement on Africans, on Caribbean, and Pacific countries. They have no local standard. And so those who have signed should maintain their stand, and do not cave in. And those who have not signed should maintain their stand. And those who have not signed should consider withdrawing their signature, because this agreement that has no explanation, we told them, because this is not a conspiracy theory in the sense that I participated in negotiation of this agreement. Negotiation means that as members of the African lawyers, we traveled to meet the people, the EU, and we told them, no, this agreement is antithetical to our culture and our value. Can you amend the agreement? They said no. We even told them, can you put a proviso to the effect that abortion, transgender, LGBT will not be promoted in this agreement? They said no. So they don't want any amendment. That shows you how wicked they are.
Zambia's foreign minister Stanley Kakubo has resigned after he was allegedly caught on video receiving a stack of cash from a Chinese businessman. In his resignation letter, Mr. Kakubo did not dispute the authenticity of the video or some handwritten notes that surfaced on social media. Instead, he said he was facing malicious claims over a business transaction and had resigned so that the government is not distracted by the controversy. However, he says he would remain a member of parliament. President Hakainde Hichilema has accepted his resignation, saying he acknowledged Mr. Kakubo's commendable work and leadership. Well, this is the second time that Mr. Kakubo has found himself at the center of controversy. Last year, he was accused of receiving bribe after he was spotted leaving the office of a Chinese-owned cement company with a briefcase. He, however, denied wrongdoing, while the president also defended him, saying he had received a calendar and a diary. Legendary South African musician, playwright and choreographer Mbongeni Ngema has died at the age of 68. His family confirmed that Ngema died in a car crash on Wednesday night near Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape as he was traveling back from a funeral he attended. Mbongeni Ngema was born in Verulam in 1955, a town just over 20 kilometers north of Durban. He first plied his trade as a manual laborer and guitarist before he started acting in theaters in the 1970s. Well, his other bodies of work include authoring the musical Sarafina that was about student revolts in the apartheid-era Soweto, and the choir direction of the animation feature The Lion King. Sarafina had made Ngema a pan-African music star, and the stage version ran for 2 years on Broadway.
We are deeply saddened by the news of Mbongeni Ngema's passing and would like to express our sincere condolences to his family and friends. Ngema's artistic legacy will forever be intertwined with the powerful ability to capture the spirit of resistance and the struggle for liberation during apartheid. His works such as Sarafina and Asina Mali served as a voice for the oppressed and shed light on the injustices of the times. His courage to use his art as a tool for social change will not be forgotten, and his impact on the South African history and the arts community is immeasurable. Ngema's talent and creativity touched the hearts and minds of many worldwide, and his absence will undoubtedly be felt by those who admired and were inspired by his artistry. His legacy will live on through his impactful works, reminding us of his immense talent and the impact he had on the arts. His passion and dedication to his craft will continue to inspire future generations of arts, ensuring that his legacy lives on in the arts industry. Sitilala ngoxolo.
You're now seeing live pictures courtesy of Channels TV partners in Ghana. Join News TV of Ghana's Afua Asantewa, who is on a journey to break a world record for the longest individual singing marathon. In her attempt to break the Guinness World Record by Sunil Wagamare, an Indian who sang for 105 hours back in March 2012, Afua has been singing Ghanaian songs back to back at the Akwaba village for 5 days now. Well, she began at midnight on December 24th. Well, the mother of two has been performing Ghanaian songs at the village, where a number of Ghanaians, including A-list musicians and politicians, have gathered to support her. Well, days ago, the Vice President, Mahamudu Bawumia, was also there to support her. Her attempt comes a few days after some Ghanaian musicians called for promoting Ghanaian songs during the Yuletide. Well, let's speak now to Maxwell Agag, Joy News TV correspondent. Hello, Maxwell. My first question will be to you would be, why are you not at Akwaba village?
In that, I'm preparing just like many Ghanaians to go to the Akwaba village later today because the expectation is that, in fact, in the last 10 minutes, I've seen a flyer asking Ghanaians whether they are ready for the after party later today at Akwaba village because it is expected that she would end the sing-a-thon later today. And many Ghanaians who have been trooping to the Akwaba village here in the capital, Accra, are expected to troop there today as she climaxes the sing-a-thon, which has been described largely as successful and also described as a sign of the Ghanaian, the resilience, the perseverance, and the tenacity of the average Ghanaian. So yes, right from here, Layo, I'm going to the Akwaba village right here in the capital, Accra, to celebrate this feat.
So she's trying to break, the Indians' record, Sunil Wagmare's 105 hours. How long has she been singing for now?
Well, she's been singing for 4 days and 15 hours. And I must say, in all of this, she has demonstrated a lot of, strength. Many Ghanaians are amazed how she was able to do it. And that has dominated conversations on social media, especially X. It would interest you to know that she's not a musician. Her profile on Facebook says she has a background in journalism. She's an entrepreneur and a women empowerment advocate. Throughout this sing-a-thon, she has restricted herself to Ghanaian music, and she says this record-breaking intent is to put and push Ghanaian music on the world music map. And indeed, in the past 4 days, she has succeeded in doing that. Also, she said this is to empower women and girls, to let them know that they can do anything they set their minds to do.
Well, we know journalists are able to multitask, but in the meantime, which you've touched on a bit, her inspiration behind doing this.
Yes, so for a very long time, there have been complaints that we've not seen some of our neighbors actually pushing Ghanaian music. We've not seen even Ghanaians themselves, accepting and pushing the kind of music that we do here in Ghana. Indeed, about 2 weeks, just 2 weeks ago, some Ghanaian musicians at a press briefing here in the capital, Accra, raised their concern and said that some Ghanaians are more receptive and accept foreign music more than they do to their local music. So there was this whole agenda to accept, Ghanaian music. So you would want to say that this sing-a-thon that is happening really came at the right time, at a time that a lot of Ghanaians are looking, want to project Ghanaian music to the rest of the world. And this is one of the reasons why Ifua Asantwa is doing this sing-a-thon. And like she said she's doing it to push Ghanaian music onto the world music map. And that is the main purpose for which she's doing this, and also to empower women and girls. Like I mentioned earlier on the Facebook page, she describes herself as a women empowerment advocate, and she thinks that this is the right medium. This provides the right, platform for the rest of the world, to see the can-do spirit of women and girls. Right.
Well, while we wait for her to, break this record, we understand there's been a lot of support for her, in the country, and Ghanaians are happy about, what she is doing. Perhaps after all of this, there's any gifts or, from the government for her.
Well, that's true. We've had a lot of support pouring in for Ifua. In fact, about 2 days ago, I went out of the capital and I was returning, and a journey that usually would take me 10 minutes took me about 2 hours, because you had a lot of Ghanaians massing up at the Akwaba village here in the capital, Accra, who were trooping there to support, and many of them clad in the Ghanaian flag, holding the Ghanaian flag and waving the Ghanaian flag. We've had the Vice President of Ghana, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, also visiting her and encouraging her, to continue with the sing-a-thon. We've had a lot of celebrities cutting across the movie industry, the music industry, ex-footballers are all gathering at the Akwaba village to provide support to her. So really, it's not just A-list celebrities. It's not just about politicians. It's not just about notable and prominent, Ghanaians. It's about all of us, because we think that she's really brought this country together in a way, united this country in a way we've not seen in a very long time. Although the Guinness World Record states that you do not get any monetary payment, for this. It's just the recognition and the plaque that you get. Already, a lot of deals are pouring in for her, and we've seen a lot of corporate organizations providing support to this sing-a-thon, many of them supporting what she's doing. So it is expected that after she's done with this, a lot of support, would come, a lot of ambassadorial deals, and many others are expected to come. In fact, even before she started the sing-a-thon, I monitored her social media accounts. It has grown exponentially. Her Facebook, her Twitter, her Instagram, have grown exponentially. So all of these is expected to translate into monetary value and a lot of recognition for her life.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Maxwell Agag, Joy News TV correspondent. And
Anytime,
we wish Afua all the best.
Great.
And that's where we end Network Africa for today. Thank you so much for being a part of it. I'm Layo Olamide.